So, your piano progress has plateaued. You feel genuinely stuck, perhaps even disenfranchised, not with the state of the world out there, not with politics, but with your own two hands and your brain. How did we get here? In my experience, we get stuck at the piano by doing something that doesn't work for us anymore for far too long. There is that phrase from the 19th century, which I'm sure you've heard, the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer. Of course, it's economics, but it works with piano. It applies to piano practice just as much, because what you are good at gets reinforced. But so does the things that you struggle with, just it gets reinforced downward. This week, I have experienced 3 different types of plateaus, and in this video, in one take, I'm going to focus on 2 of them, and in one of the next videos, I will address the 3rd one. So 2 for today is the technique or fatigueness-based plateau, and the sneaky plateau from the sight reading stage, actually. So, fatigue. I'm prepping this piece. It's a piano reduction from the overture to a Ukrainian opera, Taras Bulba, by Mykola Lysenko, and the overture is written by Revutsky. Being piano reduction, there are a few awkward spots here and there, that's to be expected. Plus, I have added a few extra notes. And there is one particular place that I've just gotten used to, always getting tired there for weeks when I would practice it. Especially since I would be focusing on the melody and jumps in the left hand that happening at the same time. So, for weeks, like I said, I've been going through this vicious cycle of working for a few minutes there, attending something else, hand gets tired, I need to cool down and bring it back and work on a few more minutes on the same thing. Until I realized, I looked at what the heck is my hand is doing, and I thought, well, why don't I try to do something that I preach to my students on a week-to-week basis, which is just using rotation or just organizing and optimizing finger movement via the macro assistance from the arm. So the advice is, if you feel like you are stuck on a technical level, look at the movement. If the movement is not organized in a slightly larger chunk that is reasonable for the place you're dealing with, then just repeating it through a pain, well, first of all, we don't exactly do that. So when I say repeating it through a pain, I imply that your hand might get tired, then you're going to slow down or move on to the next place for the hand to relax or focus on a different hand, and then you come back and work more. So healthy way of navigating through hands getting tired. But then your progress is really slow because essentially you keep practicing being tired. So figure out the way to optimize your movement. That's one of the ways to deal with the fatigue plateau. The second one, like I already said, the second type of plateau is a bit sneaky, and it's rooted in some of our experiences at the sight reading stage. So certain experiences of sight reading, especially when you keep getting into the same trouble again and again, and you either ignore it or try to fight with it with your teeth, or do something I did, which just figuring out a bit of a workaround in which I play first 2 bars that are easy, and then I slow down, I have a few bumps, mishaps, and then I stumble my way through for a few bars until I get to the next easy portion, and then that works. Now, a few practicing sessions later, I learned better than I actually need to face the monster and give it more time and attention that it requires. And the monster I'm describing here is one of the lovely, entertaining pieces by Clément Doucet, based on a jazzy conversion of one of the Wagner pieces. It starts like this. And so on and so forth. But maybe you may have heard. That still sounds a bit rough, but it's not as rough as it was 3 days ago. At the moment when I face those bars 3, 4, 5, when things are transitioning and modulating, it hit me. Unless we face certain challenges at this sight reading initial stages, right away, certain problems at the sight reading stage becomes the shadow of the piece. And I'm intentionally applying the Jungian term here. So then when we keep working on the same piece down the line, those few sections that we neglected, we hope that we'll come back to them sometime later, they become those unexplained sudden issues or troubles at the time of the performance. We need to be aware that in order to learn something, we need our conscious brain. But in order to play something, we need our unconscious brain and our body to play through something and to perform something on the stage. Conscious brain is simply too slow for that. But any unconscious or any unfaced portions of our practice or sections in the piece becomes the shadow of the piece. And now jumping from one metaphor to another, I'm going to talk about different kinds of shadow, but not a Jungian one this time. Imagine a piece that you're learning as a little vegetable garden. Certain sections of the piece will require a certain amount of water, nutrients, and they will thrive. They will grow really fast. They will ripe fast. By doing that, they will create a shadow. They will throw a shadow on other plants out there that might require more water or might require a different type of nutrient, different approach on your behalf. So when we become more fluent in majority of the sections, there is a tendency for us to start dismissing, overlooking, neglecting the trickier spots. So one of the easiest way to reach the plateau is by spending more time with the piece. And the more polished the piece becomes, this is one of my central claims for this past week of personal practice, the more time we spend with the piece, the better we become at it, the easier for some sections to reach plateau, because we simply overlook the issues in them, because everything else sounds way more fluent than before. We are excited about that. So those are the central claims for this video. The fatigue plateau and the plateau that can be based in the way how we interact with the piece at the time of the sight reading. One of the next videos, I'm going to uncover the interpretation-based plateau, and I have a few more things to talk about in the other video beyond that. Until then, stay curious, stay playful, and Slava Ukraini.